Okay, what I wanted to do with you is go into paradigm shifts and concerns in supply chain warranties, liabilities, and IP. I will skip this slide. It just gives a small information about our firm, which what we do. We are a specialized IP and technology firm. And for our firm, it's an extremely interesting period in time because a lot is happening, Internet of Things, big data, what have you. And one of the most interesting and fascinating things is the subject we are discussing today. So let's dive into the material. Bioprinting, well, it seems a little bit scary. If you see that box from Materialize, it's confirmed it's quite scary. But it can be even more scary because it doesn't show human tissue, which is scary but wonderful. It gives wonderful opportunities in the near future. Gartner predicts that by 2016 there will be a global debate about the ethical issues and legal implications of these technologies. And it's absolutely not easy what's going to happen. It's a lot of areas we have to look at. These areas include not only liability, IP, and supply chain issues, but also labor conditions and all that. I will not go into those conditions, but just one brief remark on this. I have visited quite some plants where additive manufacturing, 3D printing is going on. And frankly, I was a little bit surprised by the way they treat the dust and all that. I think it's being improved now. I don't know about Materialize, but I've been in some other places where I was a little bit surprised because the only thing they had a mouth cap that was about almost the only security measure they had, and many of the employees didn't even wear the mouth cap. And it's absolutely dust. That dust is probably not very healthy for you. So that's something to consider as well. A lot of other issues which we not discuss today. I will focus on intellectual property, supply chain, and liability. Just as a thank you very much. So it's about awareness. You have to be aware as a company, as an institution. You have to be aware of what's going on. Not only the things Mr. Polak just now mentioned, but also the legal implications. But because those implications can be quite far-stretching. So let's start with IP. IP may be your main driver, although having said that, a lot of companies don't care much about IP anymore. Recently, Tesla gave away their patents to the community. They want to achieve something which is unheard of, which is new, a new model more or less. They have a lot of patents, but they've decided, well, why should we sit on those patents? Why don't we give it away to the community? Because we have a sort of mission to fulfill. So that's a good development, I believe. I'm not favoring open source in every context, because patents and intellectual property does stimulate innovation, definitely, because it gives you the possibility to earn back on your investments. That's for sure. But sometimes it's better to give away and to work together in open source, open design, open hardware. But okay, IP is there to stay, that's for sure, and a lot of companies are working on that basis as well. So what to do if you have a company in 3D printing? You would have a clear path to the market. You would have a lot of elements to take care of, and in your process you would come across material, for instance. Well, then you come across the question, is material protectable? Can it be patented? Well, the answer clearly, in many cases, in most cases actually, is yes. Because, well, for instance, take the filament for polymer production. You can definitely protect certain innovative and novel materials. The question, though, is can you also patent a material which comes from nature, for instance, human tissue? In principle, the answer is no. In the US, it's no, but but there are some exceptions. But you can in the EU you can patent an isolated human gene, for instance. You cannot patent the tissue as such, but you can patent an isolated human gene. In the US, you cannot accept it. Some exceptions are there. But then again, there's a sort of movement going on at this moment in the public opinion, which is also has been seen in the GMOs, the genetic modified organisms in agriculture. But one thing is clear: non-human synthetic material can be patented. That's for sure. And then a second question might be: are methods patentable? The answer is yes, clearly. So the technology of bioprinting as such is patentable. If it's novel, it's an inventive step and all that. And then one thing which is a little bit crazy actually, but if you apply a method, automatically the product coming out of this method may be protected as well. That's called product by design. So that would mean that indirectly you would also protect the product what comes out of your method. And then clearly you have hardware. You can patent hardware. The printers, it is being done. There are a lot of patents in 3D printers. Some patents even have expired, because as we saw before, I think Georgia mentioned this. The technology as such dates back to, I believe, '84, which means that the patents granted back then, they're expired by now. So, but new patents are coming up, and that can lead to nasty situations. But it can also give you opportunities if you're on the inventor side, of course. Well, then you have as tools. You apply software. You make a design file. You make data that can be protected by several legal mechanisms, like copyright, design rights maybe, and database rights in the European Union. So I really already touched a little bit on the tissue. Human tissue cannot be IP protected. Well, again, it depends. If it's an isolated gene, yes, in principle, yes, in EU. But for instance, can you patent an ear? And this is realistic. Huh? The ear that has been printed by an artist. He took genes from the grandson of the grand-grandson of Vincent van Gogh, and stem cells, and he started to process these stem cells, and he actually printed an ear. It's on display in Hamburg right now. What it was and maybe it's not there anymore, but it was in a museum as a piece of art. Just a statement. So can you patent an ear? Well, maybe, but you have one problem. It must be novel. And normally people have two ears, so it's not really novel. If you have a left ear or the right ear, it may not be novel. So that's an interesting test. But again, the output of a method, if you apply a certain method to achieve a certain goal, the product may be protected as well. Prosthesis and dental, definitely such braces like this can be protected, absolutely. If it's novel and an inventive step. Maybe also copyright, maybe also design rights. The right one in the corner down there, that's from a student from the Design Academy. She has not patented the model, but it's more or less proprietary, because they have concluded an agreement with the producer, and it's actually producing right now. The nice thing of these braces are that they are adjustable, so that makes a lot of difference in the recovery time of a patient. They don't have to go back every time again to recover to the hospital, but they can just adjust the brace because the arm gets thinner. Then they can adjust the brace to keep it stiff. Okay, well, these ones we've already seen today, but again, is this jaw patentable? Well, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe only the output as the metal as such, or maybe the whole shape. But the shape is a problem because the shape is taken from something which is not novel, because it's exactly imitated from the human skull, obviously, because it should be as close as possible. So that's why I put question marks there. Those are the challenges to be looked at maybe in the future. Personalized medicine is something which is not really on the table today, but it can be a consequence of 3D printing, bioprinting technologies. If you are able to print organs, print kidneys and all that, you can easily test, for instance, chemotherapy on this, and see what the actual tissue does, the actual organ, fake organ does with this medicine. That could lead to a very high, very much better treatment program than before. So that gives you very impressive and huge possibilities. But having said that, in Utrecht at this moment, there's an education has started where they're actually printing human tissue and working towards printing human organs. So that is actually an academic education program from university over there.